y'all, and welcome back. It is time for another Will I Buy It, talking about new makeup releases. I have Sophia here on my lap. She is nursing. I'm hopefully gonna nurse her to sleep, but since my other kids are sleeping and she is still awake, I figure we do another Will I Buy It. So I'm gonna have her with me as we talk about new releases on my phone. And yeah, if you're new to new makeup releases, I'm sure you're not, but if you've never heard of them, Will I Buy It and talk about new makeup release videos are basically where I sit down and I talk about new makeup releases that caught my eye and just chat about, you know, the aspects of what I think is good about it, what I think maybe is just not for me about it, and let you know if I plan to buy it or not. And it's just a way we get to chit chat and talk about what's new in the indie world together. So with that said, let's go ahead and just jump right in and get to talking about new makeup releases. Alright, so I've just been randomly saving stuff as I see it, kind of like I used to do. So I'm going to go there first, and if we go through all of the new recent releases that I've seen and saved, we can go over to like new makeup release radar or Motivate the Earth, two Instagram, ooh, we're choking on our food over here, but two Instagram accounts that I really like to follow to stay up to date. They're always really quick to post new indie makeup releases, so definitely recommend those two if you don't know of any good Instagram pages to follow for indie makeup releases. Both of them are fantastic. Really quickly, let's go ahead and just touch on the newest launch from Colourpop. They have a Love You, a Chocolat collection, and it's a, what is this, 8, 12, 16 pan neutral eyeshadow palette. It's definitely more of a deep neutral, I would call it. It's nothing too light and, you know, like not there. So this would make a lot of, yeah, a lot of really pretty, you know, neutral chocolatey type of looks, but you guys know me when it comes to neutral makeup. They're typically an easy pass, but I appreciate that with this neutral palette. A lot of times neutral palettes can all be like mid-tone to light, so it's almost like, you know, depending on your skin tone, I suppose, but for my type of skin tone, it's like, you know, is it even there? So with this palette, I at least like that there's a lot of depth in this palette, because you guys know even if I'm going to go more neutral light makeup, I still like a dark outer corner. I like to have, you know, dimension in my outer corner, so it is nice, but it's just a neutral palette. Pretty packaging and whatnot. Easy pass for me though. Okay, so this brand, Martine Cosmetics, I've been so close to buying, I think, all the releases that I've seen from them. There's something about the color story packaging. They do a really good job, and this new makeup release is the Mission Triple X collection. It's like alien themed, and this palette color story is really pretty. It's really, really dark, so at first I was like, ooh, I don't know if I actually like that. Like, it's really, really dark. However, they have a lot of really great colors that are really light and bright to complement it. So I think these are the type of really dark, grungy looks that I would enjoy, because you still have those light tones that can kind of brighten up and help just add a little bit of lightness and brightness and dimension to the looks and not be too kind of grunge and almost muddy together. Just tends to be not my preference when it comes to my eye looks. This looks like a dark, grungy palette that I would really enjoy, because the lighter tones and the pops of colors that you can work into looks to brighten it are like green and yellow. I wouldn't mind there being more mattes. Just looking at this, I feel like it's very shimmer heavy, but at least the shimmers are varying tones. They're just all very dark. So I think this is pretty. I'm not planning to pick it up just because I'm really trying to say no to palettes, but this is super pretty. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pretty looks that people create with it, but I'm just going to pass for now. Martine Cosmetics is a brand that I have been wanting to try though. As I said, I've been eyeing like every palette I feel like that they come out with. I'm like, oh, that's so pretty, but I haven't tried them yet, so I'm not planning to pick this one up, even though I do think it is really pretty. Let me know if you've picked them up, or if you're going to pick this up, or if you've tried any of their past releases. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Did you like the formula? Let me know down below in the comments. Okay, so this is a new brand from, or a new to me brand, I should say. But Deandra Nicole just posted this brand. I never heard of them before. Girl Co Cosmetics. But look at this palette. It's really, really pretty. I thought it was a Colourpop palette at first, just because I think the color story and the big palette and the white background just made me think of Colourpop. However, it's Girl Co Cosmetics. Never heard of them before. #1 luxury lash brand, so I guess they're stepping into eyeshadow palettes. I don't know, but Meet the Gossip palette. It's really pretty. There's a nice amount of depth throughout the colors. Like, you can get a pretty dark purple, maybe not the super, like a super dark, but the blue and the green are nicely dark, and it's just a beautiful rainbow. It's got really bright colors within all of the different shades. I think it's really pretty. I don't have plans to pick it up. Again, I'm really trying to say no when it comes to palettes, unless I absolutely like just don't want to miss it, that type of thing, because I have a lot of palettes to get through, and I kind of need to focus on them, and I've been sent some and gifted some recently, which I'm very appreciative for, but I definitely want to make sure I get to them. So I'm like, Katie, if you can, say no right now, because you got a lot on your plate. So anyway, I'm not gonna be picking up, but let me know if you've heard of the brand Girl Co Cosmetics. Oh yeah, and Oden's Eye. Oden's Eye is dropping a holiday collection. I already have a video on this, so I won't touch on it too long, but they are releasing 2 palettes, the Christmas Eve palette and then the Merry Christmas palette. One's cool tone, one's warm tone. I think it's a great concept. The packaging is so nostalgic for me, and the color story I thought was really fun. Both of them have very fun color stories, so yeah, if you want to hear all my thoughts on it, I'll link that video up here, but let me know if you guys are planning, or did pick it up, because I think it already launched by the time this video will go up. I think it launched today, actually, that I'm recording this. So let me know if you got it. I don't know how long they're stocking it. I do know that it's limited edition, so I'm not sure if it's just they're gonna do one and done, or maybe they do 1 or 2, you know, restocks and then they're done. Have no idea about that, so no idea how long it's gonna be available, if it is available anymore, but let me know if you picked one up. Okay, this is a brand I'm really curious to try, and this is a palette I think is beautiful, but Electrum Cosmetics launched the Sea Witch palette, and this color story is very pretty. It's very, very dark, so part of me is like a little torn out, and like, I think it's pretty as a whole. I wouldn't mind a couple of those really dark tones to be a little bit more mid-tone, just to kind of work together, because I feel like when it's so dark, I'm almost, I don't know, I like the mid-tone shades just to help work into a look. I'm not someone who's super comfortable having such dark tones, and those be the only type of mattes. However, the shimmers in here, there's a lot of multi-chrome, so that's kind of where the lightness I think with these looks are going to come from. This palette definitely, I feel like the best way to use it is to do like one dark tone in the outer corner, maybe bring it up into your crease, and then just one multi-chrome all over the lid, and you'll have such beautiful looks. So in that aspect, it'll really shine. If you're wanting to, like, for me, I feel like I tend to use more mattes and, you know, at least 2 or so shimmers on the lid, that type of thing, to get more dimension. I don't think that method of doing your eyes will work as well, at least that's my assumption with this palette, because like I said, I just think it's going to shine best that way. But it's really pretty. It's a brand I've heard a lot of good things about. It's a brand I've been curious to try. This color story is really pretty. It's got a lot of depth to it. I feel like it's just such a deep, grungy kind of like winter theme palette. It looks beautiful, but again, I'm trying to say no. It has 12 shades, 6 mattes, 6 multi-chromes, $55, and I feel like that's not a bad price for a bunch of multi-chrome shadows. I thought that was a decent price for having so many special shades in it and whatnot, and being a relatively decent size, kind of like a middle-sized palette. But anyway, really pretty. I really wanted, but I'm not going to be picking it up. Okay, so Kylie Cosmetics is going to be collaborating with Batman on a launch, and this is I think this is, maybe I've said it before in the past, but I think this is the first time I've ever said, like, looked at the Kylie Cosmetics palette and been like, okay, I think I want that. I feel like anytime there's maybe 1 or 2 palettes where it's like, ooh, maybe so, but as a whole, it's been always an easy yes. This one, actually, I'm having a hard time saying no, because I think this is fun. Like, I wasn't into Batman at all. That was definitely my brother. This doesn't bring any like warm feelings back to me, but it does bring me back to my childhood, just because I would watch my older brother, you know, play with Batman, and it definitely looks like something he would have read through and whatnot. So the packaging, I think they did a good job, and honestly, even the color story, I think is a decent job. For Kylie Cosmetics, who usually is just very neutral and boring, it's got a lot of, you know, pops of colors in there. Nothing too crazy when it comes to like the shimmers, but there's some mattes in there. Like, I would have fun with that yellow, that green, and that blue. You could create a lot of pretty looks, even if most of the shimmers are more just a neutral kind of beigey tone. I think it's pretty. I don't like all the wasted space in the palette with the, I guess, for, you know, trying to let this, you know, the full story for the comic book stand out, but the wasted space kind of annoys me. But the color story, I can honestly say that I'm kind of intrigued. I'm not going to pick it up, but I am really intrigued by the color story, and I'm really curious to know what Kylie Cosmetics eyeshadow formula is these days. I've never tried them, and back in the day when they first were launching, I heard not great things about them, but it's been a few years. Let me know. Have you been, you know, kind of keeping up with Kylie Cosmetics and her palettes? Has she been getting better? Is it a decent formula? I'd be curious to hear. Beaute recently launched a new palette, and this is the Ambiance palette, and it's really pretty, especially for the fall tones. It's got a lot of very beautiful fall tones, very pretty palette, and I feel like this one, even more so for me, screams fall than their Falling For You palette, which I have over there, but I can't grab right now. Their Falling For You palette was very like red, and on the red tone and pink tone. I don't know, it's just the tones in it didn't, maybe if I was more into reds and pinks and purples, I would enjoy it, and, you know, it would scream fall more to me, but it wasn't a very huge fall palette for me. This, however, definitely, in my opinion, is more fallish, because you got that dark blue, that dark green, the different tones of greens, you got the orange, you got that burnt-ish orange color, and even that mustardy color. This palette definitely screams fall. I have received PR from Beaute in the past. I think the last one I got was their palette, Opoly palette. I don't know if they're like changing up how they do their PR list, list, or they're just not, maybe not sending it out to everyone, or maybe I'm just not on it anymore, but I didn't get this sent to me, so I'm not going to be reviewing it. And like I said, I'm not going to purchase it because I'm really trying not to, you know, purchase a lot of palettes right now, so I don't plan to pick it up, but it is really pretty, and I do like the color story. And if it's anything like their previous formulas, which so far the last, you know, few palettes that I've tried from them definitely are great quality, I'm sure it'll make some gorgeous looks. Oh yeah, Blend Bunny Cosmetics launched a neutral palette. This is the All Done Up palette, and I think it just launched this week if I remember correctly, and it's a really pretty neutral palette. This is the neutral palette I could definitely get down with, because even though there's no crazy color in there, it has tones that I do really enjoy working in and wearing for a neutral eye look for me. It has that mustard tone, even the dark green in there. It has, you know, for the shimmers and whatnot, it has like silver along with the gold and the more pinky beigey tones. I like it. I think it's very pretty. I feel like that darkest shade is very redundant for me personally. I feel like when you get that dark, it's just, I don't know, you could have just done a black and maybe mid-tone brown, because even the mid-tone brown, you could deepen up to a really dark brown, adding in a little bit of the black to it. So having so many really dark shades where it's just like one's green, one's a little red, one's a little, I guess, brown, and one's a little more chocolatey brown. I don't even know. Some of the, two of those browns, was it Doe-Eyed and Goddess? I'm like, what's the difference there? They almost look identical. So that was a little bit redundant for me. I feel like she didn't quite need that many really, really dark shades, but I do know that's kind of the Blend Bunny Cosmetics shtick, is to have that really one row of just really solid colors that coordinate with whatever colors are in the row. So I get it. It's kind of like a thing with her brand, so I get her wanting to kind of keep that. But for me, looking at it, it's a little bit redundant. So that's my only kind of qualm. I wish she would have maybe had some of those colors, yes, stay with the deep tones in kind of like that color column, but maybe lightened them a little bit, so more versatility in the palette. I don't know. I'm sure it's beautiful. I'm nitpicking at this point. I don't plan to pick it up just because it is a neutral palette. I don't need to be buying a bunch of palettes. I'm trying to get through what I have here and be a good girl for once. But it is very pretty. I do think it's lovely. You guys might not be able to see Sophia because she just fell asleep down here, so we'll see. But anyway, GlamLite is collaborating once again. I feel like they just collaborated with Barbie not too long ago, but they're collaborating again, and this time with ScoobyDoo. And honestly, this collection might get me, because ScoobyDoo was that cartoon in my childhood that we look forward to watching it so much. We would always watch it whenever we visited my grandparents. I always thought the episodes were so much fun. I don't know, there's just something about them. They were the perfect amount for me of like spooky but not too scary, you know, kid friendly, that type of thing. So I always loved them as a kid. And the packaging so far, all I can see right now that they've launched so far or shown so far is the highlighter, but the packaging looks pretty spot on, like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy on the cover, the coloring, even the pink and purple. I like it. So I'm very curious. I'm waiting to decide if I plan to make a purchase from GlamLite until I see the palette, because that's going to decide if it's for me. But if they kind of keep to the theme of what I see with the Scooby-Doo highlighter and the packaging for it with the purples and the pinks, and you got some mustardy tones there and neutrals, maybe with the brown with Scooby-Doo, it could be a color story that grabs me. So I'm very curious to see what they do. I really hope they do a good job. I kind of have this high expectation for them, so we'll see what it is. I don't even know what type of color story I'm expecting, but I hope it lives up to what I'm expecting, if that makes any sense. So let me know if you were big into Scooby-Doo, you know, back in the day. Let me know if you're excited about this, or if you're like me, trying to hold it back until you see the palette, that type of thing. But they do show the highlighters. I don't plan to pick up the highlighters even if I do get the palette, but they do look really pretty. Hey, okay, so this is Future Katie, obviously. Different makeup. This is the next day. Yes, I'm still in the same shirt. I had a long night with Sophia. She didn't go to bed till almost midnight, and then she woke up super early, just got her down, did my makeup. I wanted to add this into the video because after I recorded the video talking about the GlamLite sneak peek for Scooby-Doo, they shared the whole collection, or basically the palettes at least. They shared and revealed the palettes last night, and I was like, I want to comment on it. So we're going to jump in real quick here, and I'm going to comment on it in the same shirt, different makeup, different day. I'm tired. Okay, so I'm going to use Motivate the Earth because she did a really great collage, but there are two palettes that they're releasing in the collection. And the first one is, I don't even know what they're called, the Rubber Raggy 10 shade eyeshadow palette. Packaging, they did a great job. I am not going to be the one to dog on the packaging. I think it's A+ for just the theme of it, the kind of spooky theme of it for the season, and also just the coloring, everything about it. They did a great job. Let's talk about the actual eyeshadows inside though. This first one, I'm kind of drawn to, and it's the one palette that I think I would get if I were going to get one. It does, a lot of people have compared it to the It's Freakin' Bats palette by Shroud and Batty Bean, and I can definitely see the similarities. I still think the Shroud Cosmetics, which is literally right here, It's Freakin' Bats, is a lot more unique slash, I don't know, just more dimension and differences with those darker shades, because like looking at the GlamLite, it is, the GlamLite's a bit bigger, but the GlamLite has a lot of really dark shades, dark shimmers, and dark mattes. I mean, this has, you know, one dark matte, and I don't know. they're similar, yes, I will give it that, but I don't think it would take the place of that palette because it's just so amazing to me, and also I like the shimmers in the Shroud Cosmetics palettes and their formula way more than the GlamLite. Getting back on track though, yes, I do see the similarities for sure, and if I were gonna get a palette, it would be this one, but because there are so many of those really dark shimmers, like 1, 2, 3 dark shimmers and 2 dark mattes that I feel like are super close, I'm not gonna get it. I would be able to create a lot of looks I could get from the It's Freaking Bats palette. You guys know I'm overwhelmed with palettes right now, so I like this one. This is the one that I would get if I were going to get one, but I'm not gonna get one. The second palette is definitely doesn't intrigue me at all. It's a very dark palette, which just, you guys know me and really dark tones. I like some brightness in there. It does have like, what is it, the lavender tone and more pinky tone. So it has a couple more brighter shades. And also I should note these pictures are all with a filter over top, which I don't really love. I wish they would just show the palette as it is. It looks like there's a color filter over it. But anyway, going off of the swatches, it's just not a palette that excites me too much. So it's an easy pass. I do think, like I said, that they did a good job with the collab and the presentation of the palettes, but the Creeps and Crawls is the second palette. But as a whole, I'm just going to very easily pass on this collection. I think it's really cute, and part of me is a little bummed that I'm not picking up something just to have something from that collection, because like I said, ScoobyDoo is very nostalgic for me in my childhood, but I'm not gonna pick it up. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of really great, awesome reviews and eye looks that are gonna be done with this, so I'll just live vicariously through all of them who are going to pick up this palette and try it out, and I'll be curious to see, you know, how they like the palette, but yeah, that's pretty much the short and sweet of it. Did this live up to my expectations? I don't know. I wanted a little bit more. I mean, I get that it's very grungy because of the, you know, the holiday season and whatnot, but I feel like the colors with the whole like Scooby-Doo and the clan as a whole were just such a fun color story. Very grunge, but you had like, you know, all the different characters of, you know, having their distinct outfits, like the purple and the orange and the blue and all that. I would have liked to see more of that brightness and that kind of bright retro kind of grunge in the palette, especially the second one, because like the first one, like I said, it is pretty, but the second one is just kind of like a blue purple palette that I feel like GlamLite has done a lot in the past, but that's just me nitpicking it. Overall, let me know what you guys think. That's the biggest thing I want to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments, are you planning to pick up anything from this collection? And as much as it kind of makes me sad that I won't be picking up anything, I'm not going to pick up anything from the collection. So now let's continue with the rest of the video. Okay, so Makeup Revolution is going to be collaborating with Shrek, and I think the movie theme and the packaging is really spot on. I think it's fun, but when I actually look at the color story, it's an easy no for me. Again, I'm trying to say no to palettes, so that's making it easier anyway, but like the biggest palette just doesn't, I don't know, doesn't correlate to, or doesn't, I mean, it's such a big palette, it's just kind of like all the colors in the rainbow are there, but I look at it and I'm not very inspired by it. I like the packaging, and then the Ogre palette I think is the one that I'm most intrigued because it has obviously the most green, but that packaging, just no, I'm not even gonna entertain that. And also the colors in it, there's a lot of brown in it, which I guess makes sense, but I don't know, green and brown, I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of greens and browns. Maybe 1 or 2 looks, but a whole palette with heavy tones of green and brown, there's some red in there too. I don't know, as a whole, I think they did a cute job with the packaging and the presentation and, you know, the kind of theme of it, but as far as like using it, eye looks, and like really looking at the color stories of the palettes, it's an easy no for me. Cute concept though. All the makeup brands are just collaborating with everyone right now. SheGlam is collaborating with Willy Wonka, and this is what they are launching. I think the chocolate bar is really cute, really pretty. It's chocolate, it's a neutral palette, easy no. They've got blush, they've got a lot of things. I think it's really cute, but as a whole, like looking at it, am I gonna actually want any of these to use? I'm not into anything. Even the lip balm, like it's cute with the, you know, 3 colors, but it's like clear. So I'm just like, it'd be cute, but I don't know. As a whole, no. This is all a super easy pass for me. I wasn't super big into Willy Wonka. The movie itself terrified me as a kid, so I have no ties to it in that way, but I was just, when I saw this launch and, you know, starting to be teased before they launched, I was just like, man, all the brands are collaborating with all these big names all of a sudden, I guess for the holidays and whatnot, but it's an easy pass for me. Natasha Denona is launching a new baby palette. It's a baby gold, and it has 3 eyeshadow palettes, 2 mattes, 3 eyeshadows in the palette, 2 mattes, 1 shimmer. It's a very easy no for me, but I guess if you're someone more into wanting that simple kind of neutral, you know, 3 eyeshadows and you're done type of look, this would be a great one to have because you could just pull for it, you know, every single day and be out the door super quick, or just, you know, be done with your makeup super quick. But for me, like, that takes away the creativity, and that's what I like most when it comes to makeup, so I'm sure this comes at no surprise, but I'm not planning to pick it up. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. Sophia did fall asleep. I'll show you guys really briefly. I'm sorry, I thought she would come up and chat for a bit, but she was tired from the day, so So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go lay her down in her bed. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I talked about new makeup releases. As always, let me know what you guys think about the new makeup releases that I talked about, or if there were any that I missed that you were curious to hear my thoughts on. Let me know down below in the comments, and I can try to comment down there, just because I don't know when I'm gonna do this type of video again. And I'll try to let you know my thoughts and if I plan to get it and whatnot. But yeah, oh, that was it. The new Adept cosmetics. I had someone ask me about that. I'll go ahead and stick the picture here. Yes, I'm scatterbrained like that right now, but this palette I think is very pretty. It definitely, if you like the pretty sparkly shimmery tones, is very pretty, but I'm not planning to pick it up because it is more neutral. And with Adept cosmetics, there's some shadows that I really like from them, but I feel like they're more intense and like just more wow type of shadows are chunkier than I prefer to play with, so I don't know if I'd like it that much. So as a whole, again, I'm trying to say no. This palette I don't plan on picking up, but if you're curious, those are my thoughts. Let me know if you're picking it up though, because I think it launches soon. So I know a lot of people are really excited about that, but I don't have plans to pick it up. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna go lay this little girl down. If you want to follow me on another platform, I'm over on Instagram. I'm LadyKatie92 over there. Post reels, up close eye pictures, all that sort of thing. With all that said, that's gonna do it for me. I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye guys.